Hello.
Hey, Nick, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, good. After last night, I was worried.
Yeah, it changes sometimes. I used to have problems with my other laptop.
Okay.
Every time I would use Zoom, GoToMeeting, Google Meets, it would always change or have to be different. So I was like,
I've forgotten that these different platforms are still in competition with each other, and I
yeah,
would not be surprised if they put little Easter eggs or whatever you call it in the to disrupt you. If you change over from Google to Microsoft, and say, "Oh, you're gonna do that? Okay, we're gonna teach you how to."
oh yeah, for sure.
Listen, oops, none of this is here. Oh, interesting. Um, oh, no, I can't see it.
So we're actually live, Julia Lynn.
Yep, I realized that.
Okay.
I stopped myself.
I just want to make sure.
I know that's right. I did. I definitely noticed.
I'm trying to.
That we did. Yep.
Let's see. Mhm. Okay, I'm gonna step away for a second. Nick, I'm leaving you in charge here. If he's still there.
Yeah, I am. Sorry, but
Okay.
I didn't find unmute.
Although I could have sworn I had the other one. There's your secretary.
Oh, really?
Good evening, Kim.
Good evening, Will.
How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
I'm loving this weather.
I know I was out seating in my backyard
Ah, good for you. Yeah, I was
earlier
thinking
today.
about moving, but I changed my mind. I'm gonna stick around.
Well, I'm moving right down the street.
I know.
Yeah.
I was talking
Yeah.
about like Florida or somewhere.
Oh, everybody wants to go there. I asked my mom, I said, why don't I like Florida? She goes, because you like Columbus.
Uh, yeah, it's been very nice. Very nice.
Jeez.
Well, Kim, I offered to do some little solos while we waited for everybody to sign on, but Julia Lynn next that.
Okay, well, we need to see if we can get a Zoom together or just even a couple quick phone calls on it
Oh,
so I can.
Yes, Sandra was just on. I called her, and she said she was on, and she saw some numbers, but she couldn't hear anybody. So she's on her way over to my house again.
Okay. Wait, Nick and I were saying, I was on the call yesterday when little different platform, same type of thing, and I lost my audio, but today it's back, you know, so.
Well, it looks like my program has evolved somehow, so we'll see what happens.
Now, are the participants muted upon entry?
No, but I can do that.
This thing says Canberra is muted. I don't know if mine is muted or not. I'm Frank Eubanks.
Frank, would you mind muting your mic for us?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I have 6:30. We'll give another 2 or 3 minutes, because I also don't see Dr. Bertley.
I don't either. I'm not sure. Who is, let me write to them.
I'm just looking at your preview.
There he is. Okay, Dr. Bertley's on.
Yes. And let me make him a co-host as soon as he gets here, just in case.
Yeah, he has slides.
Very good. As soon as he populates the participant view here. And just before you start, I'm going to ask everybody to stay on mute until it's time for them to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see.
LG's.
Where did he go? Here he is.
Hey, oh slick.
I meant to wear my hat in honor. In honor.
Who's LG Stylo 5X?
I'm sending them a chat message.
Yeah. To mute, please.
Oh, okay. Well, they don't have a microphone, actually.
Next to Bert. Okay, we're just gonna give another 2 or 3 minutes. I know people aren't driving, but they still have dinner responsibilities and childcare responsibilities and just making sense of life responsibilities. So let's give another 2, 3 minutes and then get started. And I may dash away in the middle of something because I've got a trustee coming to the house to share this screen with me, and I'll have to go let her in. So if it's in the middle of Dr. Bertley's presentation, I hope he doesn't take it personally.
Never that. It's an honor to be here with you today.
We are glad to have you, Dr. B.
Thank you.
Kim, we don't have Nick. We got Nick, Kim, Brian.
Not to me.
Tamika.
No, she's doing double duty.
Okay. Sandra's en route. Carol. Okay.
Someone just called in.
Right.
Let's see.
And maybe put a note in the chat that people who are using their phones to please identify themselves by name.
Yeah, I'll write to him.
Yeah. And you've got the co-hosts straight?
Yes.
Okay.
Dr. Burley, you got a message for me giving you co-host permission? It's gonna pop up. I'll double check.
I can definitely share my screen, so that's great.
Very good. That's great. That's great.
Okay, let me get Sandra and then we'll start.
Okay. So how many people knew by a reaction down on the bottom that Dr. Bertley was a resident of the Franklin Park neighborhood? I see one thumb. Nobody. Oh, yeah. How long have you lived in our neighborhood, Dr. Bertley?
2 years and a few months.
All right. And I bet you're rarely at home.
But the real answer is not long enough.
Very good. Very good.
You know, Willis guy.
Okay.
He's just got beard now. Let's see if I'm muted.
Okay. Good evening. I want to welcome you to the Franklin Park Civic Association monthly meeting for March. And you know, it has definitely been a spring day today and yesterday and Sunday. And so we are ready. We're going to hear some more about that from Richard and Joyce Harris. But let's get started. We have a very full agenda. And Brian has the minutes. We are posting the minutes. We're sending them out to membership ahead of time so you have a chance to review them. Are there any, well, Brian, let me turn it over to you because I was getting ready just to run, keep right on going. Right. So Brian.
Does anyone have any questions? Does
Okay.
anyone have any questions?
No questions.
There are no
I have a
questions,
question.
comments?
I-
Okay.
I have a question. I was looking at the website of the Civic Association and it said something about the agenda. You can find it, but I couldn't find the agenda for tonight ahead of time. Is there a place for that?
In the library on the website. Documents library.
Oh, okay. It's in the library.
Yeah, it really, I like to proof and it really is there, but you have to go through a couple of steps. And I did bring it up with my team and said, we got to do better because it's got to be more accessible. So it is there, but you do have to go through a couple of steps and we will do better by next month. Okay, but any questions or
Okay.
comments on the content of the February minutes? Is there a motion for approval, acceptance? Is there a motion and a second for approval and acceptance of the minutes?
Move.
Second,
Okay, you got
It
that,
was a
Brian?
second.
Tamika.
Okay. Tamika. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, thank you very much. So we're going to move directly into our speaker, Dr. Frederick Bartley, who is CEO of the, well, COSI. I mean, you know, who doesn't know, hasn't been influenced by COSI. But I think it's going to be important to hear about COSI from his perspective, particularly in this period of recovery. Let me put it that way. So let me turn it over to you, Dr. Bartley, and then we'll see what questions we have afterwards.
Well, thank you, Julie Lynn Walker. Thank you so much for inviting me here today. It's a pleasure to be in front of you. I like to follow instructions or directives. I was told I have 15 minutes. I will get in and out in 15 minutes. And if you want to ask questions, by all means, you can. Let me begin by sharing my screen. So can I just check that you all can see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, great. So let me begin. But you hit it on the head, Julian Walker, Ms. Walker. I mean, it's been a tough year for everybody in the country and in the city and in the state. It's been a tough year at COSI. So proud to say we're opening soon, which is great. We've actually been closed since March 13th of 2020. So we were one of the institutions that didn't open back up. We believed in following the science. The virus was still there. People were still getting sick. We didn't want to open up because we're a science center. But we will be opening soon, but we were closed, right? What I want to do is walk you through what your institution, I say your institution because I'm probably the most junior person here in Columbus compared to all the folks on the screen, what the beloved COSI, the Center of Science and Industry in this city, has done while being closed. Because we like to say our doors have been physically closed to our guests, but COSI has been wide open with our programmatic initiatives. And I want to walk you through just some of the stuff to give you a flavor back to Ms. Walker's point of how we coped during this pandemic. So even though we're closed, there are several opportunities. Opportunity number one, back in April of 2020, McKinsey and Company published this landmark paper that studied almost 200 governments around the world. And they found out that over 1.6 billion children around the world were impacted. Now, I need to put this number in perspective. There are 7.7 billion people walking this planet. Half of us are adults. So now you're down to 3.8 billion. Of the 3.8 billion, almost half of that are people from 18 to 22 or so. And so when you talk about 1.6 billion people impacted by the pandemic way back in April of last year, you're talking about almost every kiddo around the planet. And, it's incredible. It was really a situation where they were struggling. If you remember back in April, folks were like, oh, they'll be back in school in May, maybe June. Then it was like, well, maybe over the summer, we'll have some summer school to catch up. Well, you saw what happened, right? I mean, schools, especially the public school systems, are incredibly hurting, and especially kids in underserved communities, the education gap is growing ever wider. And so what did school look like? This is what it looked like. You were at home trying to figure it out. If you had a digital device, you were online working with your siblings, working with teachers. It was really a struggle. So we looked at that at COSI and said, you know what? There are a few opportunities that even though people love our physical science museum, there's a lot of stuff that we can do. So we looked at how to impact the digital landscape, how to impact the physical landscape, even though we're closed, and then how do we leverage partners, right? So I want to walk you through this. A fun fact, in February 2020, the USA Today publication voted COSI the #1 science museum in the nation. That was February 2020. In March 2020, we were the #1 science museum in the nation that was closed, unfortunately. And so you probably heard of our science festival. This is something we launched in 2018, really effective, impacting 40,000 people in communities throughout Franklin County. Where we couldn't do that in person, it's always in May. We did a digital version. That was one way we pivoted. We have interactive videos that are available through our website, and this is particularly interesting to kids in the K through 12 space. We have a program called the Color of Science, which is our diversity and equity program, which I'll talk about a little later. And then we had a suite of vehicles on our website called COSI Connect. So if you went to cosi.org and clicked on COSI Connects, which you can't miss, you had all these resources that were FREE, free for parents, for teachers, and for kiddos to help have content to support their science, technology, engineering, and math education. And what's really important about the stuff that our team put together on this website is it correlated with the Ohio Science Learning Standards. Many of you are in education, you know that if you're a teacher or a principal or what have you, you have to teach X standards over Y weeks for your kids to quote unquote move on from grade to grade. And so we made sure all of our content on our website was actually linked to the Ohio Science Learning Standards and actually the next generation science standards, which are the national model. So teachers were so happy that we did that. And we did this way back in April, end of March, April. And so teachers who were struggling to figure out how do you do this distant learning? How do you get these kiddos engaged? How do you provide proper content? They could go to our website, get it for free, and distribute it with them. So the other physical pieces, the other digital pieces, of course, we're known for our fantastic exhibits that we have. We spend a lot of time curating exhibits from all around the world. Well, you can't do that if you're physically closed. So what we did is we actually 3D filmed several of our of our classic exhibits. So for example, here's a shot of the dinosaur gallery. This is in partnership with the American Museum of Natural History. And I want to pause there and make sure you all know this, that COSI has a partnership with the American Museum of Natural History. Those of you who are into museums know that that museum is in New York City. It's the largest and the #1 natural history museum in the world. They could have partnered with any country. They could have partnered with any state. They picked the state of Ohio, the city of Columbus, and COSI to have their very first and only satellite site. And so, for example, our great dinosaur exhibit, now you can actually see that again for free virtually by going to our website. And it's not just that you're kind of walking through as looking through the lens of a camera, but we have these hotspots and these QR codes and these augmented reality to really further enhance the exhibit experience, even though physically you can't come to the building. And what's great about this is not only do we have a lot of people from Central Ohio and Ohio that use this, but we have people from all 50 states and now several countries. I think it's 18 different countries now from around the world have come through our digital experiences. So that's our digital. Many other people, not just COSI, the Art Museum, Franklin County Conservatory, the zoo, people across the Science Museum across the country, everybody tried to pivot doing things distantly and doing things digitally. But we wanted to say, hey, we are known for that physical experience. You go into COSI, you pull a lever, you touch something, you have a hands-on experience. And we're like, how can you do that if we're physically closed? So we came up with this idea, the learning lunchbox. And what we did is we put hands-on activities inside these kits. Each box has a specific set of 5 experiments, and everything you need to do the experiments is there. Your mom or your dad or your uncle or your cousin does not have to go to CVS or Whole Foods or Kroger's or whatever to get further stuff. It's all in the box. And these 5 activities, like the other stuff I mentioned, are correlated to the Ohio Science Learning Standards, right? And so this is what COSI looked like about 8 months ago. We weren't in the kit building business, but our doors were closed. We wanted to make sure we had a way to sustain revenue and bring in dollars, and also, most importantly, have an impact around this science education. And so we became this kit producing institution where we're cranking out 1,000 boxes per week. This has become so successful. We don't do this in-house anymore. Now we work with a kitting company, actually a few of them in Central Ohio, that actually do all the packaging for us because the demand is too high. We can't just do that internally. All right. But what do? We didn't just come out with kits and say, okay, let's sell them to try to make money. We partnered. You remember that third column that I showed you, the partnership model? We partnered with so many institutions. This, for example, is our partnership with the Children's Hunger Alliance. Every Wednesday, they would give out free food to needy populations. We would be there with them giving out these blue boxes that are COSI Connect science kits. And we came up with this idea of feeding hungry minds and feeding hungry lives. And so here's a shot in St. Stephen's, and you can see the line for these cars lining up to get these learning lunch boxes. Again, parents were struggling with what could they do at home with their kiddos, and they were thrilled to get these kinds of hands-on science kits, right? Well, we took partnerships and we blew that beyond the city of Columbus. Here's just a subset of our partners, but we also work with the Ohio Mayor's Alliance. And we said, if we can do this in Linden, if we can do this in St. Stephen's, if we can do this throughout Franklin County, maybe we can do that throughout the entire state of Ohio. And sure enough, we did. We did a road trip partnering with all kinds of institutions. This shot is shot from a drone. This is in Dayton, Ohio. Those red lines are showing you the line of cars to pick up the kits. We went out to Dayton. We thought we were going to give out 500, 600 kits. We had 1,200 cars line up to get our kits because, again, they're starving for this educational information. We partner with these mayors. Each one of these persons is a mayor from a different city. And so we said, hey, we want to come to your city. We figured out how to fund this. Can you mobilize the community to come out and get some of our science kits? They were like, great, absolutely. And this is just a snapshot of some of the folks we did work with. We also partnered with the lieutenant governor and the governor. This is at the Mid-Ohio Food Bank. We gave away 1,200 kits that day and 1,200 sets of food for needy families. We also partner with the governor himself. So remember I told you about the Science Festival? Well, we launched that in a digital format with over 40 different events, digital events, all free, accessible through the web in a 4-day period. And the governor actually launched it on our first day, which back then was May 8th. This year's festival is coming up May 5th through May 8th, also free and also digital. But I show you this shot because I sent Governor DeWine one of my COSI ties, and I said, listen, you're going to be our partner. You're launching our science festival. I'd love for you to wear it. And so he actually wore it. And you can't see it, unfortunately, great in this picture, but those are all COSI logos on his tie. All right. That was really successful. Again, back to Ms. Walker's point, how does a museum, in this case, a science museum, survive during a pandemic? It's by pivoting, it's by being creative, it's by being innovative. So this stuff that I just shared with you got so popular, we're going beyond state lines. We're in Ohio, of course, but we're in Kentucky, Tennessee, we're in West Virginia, and we're literally going east and west across this nation, delivering these important hands-on science kits to needy populations, right? And so we talked about the idea of feeding hungry lives. We start off with a nature box. Now we have a water box. We have a dinosaur box or kit. We have a human body kit, an energy kit, and a space kit. So you can imagine we have almost a complete curriculum from earth sciences to life sciences to environmental sciences to you name it, that really cover a wide spectrum of things that kiddos need in the K through 12 space, and areas where teachers are really struggling and parents are struggling to make sure their kids don't backslide in general, but especially in the science education. So again, we talked about feeding hungry lives in partnership with food banks, feeding hungry minds, but we took this one step further. I challenged the team to think bigger than just the K through 12 education landscape. Think about other needy areas in the social services. And so now we have this third tagline, fulfilling human services. What am I talking about? Well, we are now in recovery centers, working with moms and dads who are having trouble through substance abuse and are having a tough time bonding with their kids. We bring them kits, and those kits are a gateway or portal for them to work and bond with their kiddos. Similarly, we're in the foster care system. These are two young ladies who received our kit. They were so excited to receive it. They both did unpacking videos, which I won't show you now, but really thrilled that they had these hands-on science interactive experiences in their foster homes. We're also working in homeless shelters. Again, struggling parents and struggling kiddos. You want to have something fun and engaging to do. People are excited about the COSI kits. And so also, as I mentioned, we didn't just want to stay locally in the city, in Franklin Park neighborhood, then in the city of Columbus, then in Franklin County. We really wanted to go across the state and then nationally. So we partnered with NASA. This is the former head of NASA, Jim Bridenstine. And so they were one of our seminal partners. And so we actually created our kit. Our space box is actually in partnership with NASA. So think about this. The famous NASA has partnered with only one science museum to make a kit, and that's right here in Columbus, COSI. And this is a great kit. You can go to the moon, you can shoot rockets out, you can learn all about trajectories. It's a really fascinating kit. Similarly, we partnered with the US Department of Energy, their first partner ever, again, to create a science kit. This is the former Secretary of Energy, again, just like Jim Bridenstine reports to the President of the United States. This shot is actually taken in COSI in the month of June. We hosted he and 14 other persons from the energy sectors in Ohio, and he was so excited when he looked at our kit. He said, hey, I'll be a sponsor for you all, and we want to go national with that. And then the last partnership I want to mention is Virgin Hyperloop. You all know about Virgin Galactic. Well, Virgin Hyperloop is the institution behind, or the company behind Hyperloop technology, the really fast mobility transportation that can go about 600 miles an hour. And so this was launched actually at COSI pre-pandemic. They launched a national tour. They really loved how we made science come alive, that we actually became their national science, technology, engineering, and math education partner. They're so excited by it that Mrs. Branson and her husband, Sir Richard Branson, the president and CEO of Virgin Hyperloop and Virgin Galactic, were actually tweeting and texting about Columbus and specifically about COSI, how we're the partner to disseminate that. And lastly, I want to talk real quick about the color of science. This is our diversity and equity program. The program, in simple, makes the point that all scientists aren't old white men with thick glasses and pocket protectors, but women make fantastic scientists and engineers, and so do persons of color. And so normally we do this program in person, but because of the pandemic, we do a digital series. So in December, it's always the first Thursday of every month. In December, we interviewed Kathy Sullivan, the first female U.S. astronaut to walk in space. And by the way, I don't know if you know this, she was actually a president of COSI as well a few years back. So she's my predecessor's predecessor. Then second month in January, we interviewed this young man, Caleb Anderson. He's 12 years old now. At the age of 8 months, he's, by the way, a national phenom, been on every major network. By the age of 8 months, he was doing sign language. By the age of 1, he was speaking full sentences and writing. By the age of 2, he was doing algebra. He's 12 years old now. He's already in college, and he just got accepted in Georgia Tech Institute in Georgia to study aerospace engineering. unbelievable. Normally, I don't get nervous for interviews. I wasn't nervous with Kathy Sullivan. I'm not nervous for anybody. I was so nervous interviewing this young boy because he is just so brilliant. After that, we interviewed Nicole Jackson. She's a PhD in computer science, an incredible learning scientist. She's one of what's called If Then. This is a group of 115 women that were recognized nationally as being powerhouses in science, technology, engineering, math, and they go around the nation mentoring all people, but especially girls, to get them encouraged into going to science. And coming up April 1st, I'll be interviewing. By the way, I do all these interviews myself. And again, they're all for free every Thursday from every first Thursday of the month. So April 1st, and it's not April Fool's, I will be interviewing Miss America. You might be wondering, well, why am I interviewing Miss America? Well, Miss America happens to be a scientist. She has a degree in biochemistry and a second bachelor's in molecular biology, and she's working on her PhD in pharmacology. And so this idea that you can be a pageant queen, but really be dedicated to science is such a good message to get everybody, but especially girls, to understand that science is for you too, regardless of what you like. So what does success look like in closing? This is a partnership we did to Cover My Meds. We're giving kits in Franklinton. As you know, it's a very distressed neighborhood. This was a Sunday. We're giving away 500 kits. These are people coming. We're doing some fun hands-on activities for the kiddos. But my favorite picture is right here. These two kids came to Avalon School in Franklinton with no adults, no parents, no brothers, no sisters, just themselves. And they were so excited to receive the COSI hands-on kit that they opened them up right there in the parking lot by the park and started doing the experiment. And so when you talk about a picture being worth 1,000 words, it doesn't get better than that. And then the last thing, still all while we were closed physically, we launched a program that I hope you all have seen. It's called QED with Dr. B. It's a prime time television show in partnership with WOSU every Wednesday night at 7:30. Tomorrow night at 7:30, check it out. We'll be talking about climate science. It's the first of 2 episodes. And so with that, I want to say thank you very much for being here. It's a pleasure, and I will unshare my screen and take any questions if you have them.
Whoa, but stop and have something to drink. I know you got a glass of wine there or something, just because that was incredible. That was a lot of fantastic information and a lot of energy. Your passion is clear. Now, if people have a question about what's happening, should we go to the website? Is there a place maybe to put in a general question, or is there a particular person that people should connect with?
Yeah, you can go to cosi.org, so www.cosi.org, and just look for information. You can email in questions. You can call our COSI hotline. If you just go to cosi.org, you'll see it. You can submit an oral question through voicemail. You can write a written question through an email. We answer all the questions we get. We'll be doing a press release in a week and a half announcing our opening. So unfortunately, I'm embargoed from sharing it, but it will happen in the early summer. But we're so excited to be opening again. We can't wait to receive the guests that we love and to serve the great experiences that Central Ohio, and in fact, the country is now appreciated. So.
Great. Well, that's fantastic. I didn't see any other questions. If there is anything else, we will, I don't know if you're going to hang around for a moment, but people can, again, as you said, go through the website. They have something in particular. But what people have said consistently over and over again is, thank you very much for everything that you have done. It's clear you haven't been, reading bad novels and trying to figure out what you can do with your life. You just jumped right on in and did it. Okay, I want to turn it over to Will Willis for a second, and then we'll move on to the next item on the agenda.
Okay, can I just thank you all before you do that? I just really want to thank you for having me. By the way, I should have said this. My last name is Bertley, Bertley. Feel free to email me at bertley@cosi.org. Anything you want to bring your friends and family, Miss Walker will tell you I will host you all for free when we open. So bertley@cosi.org. Anything you want, have me do it. And definitely check out that show Wednesday nights at 7:30. It's a really cool science show. Hopefully you like it. Thanks so much, and I'll see you all around the neighborhood.
Okay, hold on. Will?
Yes. All right, thank you very much. Wow, to follow Dr. Bertley, I never thought that I would have this chance, but I want to give a quick update on our newest emerging neighbor, They call
No,
themselves.
no. I'm sorry, Will. We have our signals crossed. Dr. Bertley,
Oh,
are
I'm
you
sorry.
still
In
with
terms
us?
of Dr. Bertley,
Yeah, is he still
before
here?
we get to that, we have, as a executive committee, want to offer you a honorary membership for 2 years as a member of our association for your outstanding service and generosity in speaking to us and making offers for us coming to visit you. We want to thank you so much, and we are proud to have you amongst our members.
Okay, he's actually left, so we will communicate that later, okay? But we do have a position, we have a provision within our bylaws to extend a fellow membership, to people who made a contribution to the community. And we decided to reinvigorate this provision by giving a 2-year fellow membership to Dr. Bertley, who is also a resident of FPCA. And as he said, we've discussed having an FPCA night or event at COSI, and he will bring us in for free. So once it opens, we'll work that out and do it accordingly. Okay. So now, according to our
member,
excuse me.
Another great reason to be an FPCA member.
Absolutely. So I hope everybody has signed up. Okay, now sticking with the agenda, please. And at 7 o'clock, we actually had NEAC on next with Kate and the community engagement. So Kate, could you unmute and take 3 minutes, please? I saw her.
Sorry about that. Here I am.
Okay, I was getting ready to say, I saw you. All right, go ahead.
So I had a short slide provided for tonight, and if you'd like me to present that, I can. Otherwise, I will just churn through it.
Please just go through it.
Okay, so this is about the Community Engagement Committee. So the idea is that this is a proposed standing committee for NEAC. It would be an opportunity to have a mixture of NEAC sitting commissioners who would volunteer for this. There would be ideally 7 of them, and then 7 slots also for community members. So it would be an even 50-50 split between community and the commission. And the intention with this is that there would be also 2 co-chairs who would chair for 1 year, and 2 junior chairs or vice chairs who would precede that. So we would have the committee would then select the vice chairs who would then rise up to be chairs the next year, and they would rotate off. So the intention is not to have the same chairs all the time. The intention is to have both 1 community member and 1 commissioner seated as a vice chair, and 1 also as of each for a chair to divide the leadership. And the intention of this is because we're looking at oftentimes we're not communicating very well within our community, and that goes for admittedly for NEAC. I think that we can do a better job as commissioners to be able to connect with the community with the amount of development that's going on in the area. I think that neighbors are feeling like you never know what is going on. And so that's not helpful for you when there's something being built in your district or being built down the street or someplace that you're surprised to see something pop up. But also in general, the thing that I'm seeing that's a little bit worrisome is with the amount of individuals who are moving into the neighborhood, they don't know the history. They don't know who they're living with. They don't know their community. They don't know their neighbors. And so this is an opportunity for us to have healthy ways to engage. So the first part of this is that we would be working on a quarterly basis. And so there would be 3 activities each quarter, and it would rotate through each month. Month 1 would be a speaking panel. And we would be looking for resident experts. We have a lot of individuals, obviously, with tonight's presentation of people who are amazing and wonderful. And often when I see presentations that are being held by the library or Columbus Foundation or whatever else that's being hosted, they're not presenting by people who live here. They're experts from somewhere else, which means that they're not invested in sharing that knowledge on a continuous basis beyond the presentation. So this would be a panel comprised, we could talk about anything, pick a topic, right? So it could be the Tuskegee Airmen, right? And we would have a panel discussion about Tuskegee Airmen and the history of Hanford Village. And then the next month, the follow-up to that is a volunteer opportunity. I think, again, a lot of times people want to connect, and the neighborhood civic associations would be a great connection point for this because the civic associations know what's going on often in their own neighborhoods. So we would be, as a committee, looking to the neighborhood associations for ideas for civic, for opportunities to volunteer. And the benefit of this is that beyond the one-time event for that quarter is that now individuals understand that there's an opportunity ongoing where there's a need. And so, for instance, it could be working with the Hanford Village Association for a community cleanup, right? For the volunteer opportunity the next month. And then, sorry, hold on. Hey, whoa, my family's in the background. I apologize. Then the last thing of that quarter then would be us getting together as a neighborhood. So doing something fun. We are rich in music and love of jazz. You know, there was an event over on Franklin Park South, which I think many of you saw, and there were people roller skating to jazz music that was being played. And we can do this. This is something that we can be doing together where families can come and engage, and we can find opportunities to connect with one another. And the intention is that beyond this one event, right now, when you see somebody that you recognize from something you went to last month, you strike up a conversation. You say, oh, hey, I saw you last month. What's your name again? And so this is an opportunity for us to connect with one another. So this community engagement committee, I understand that there is that there are district meetings that your district commissioners are obligated to be doing per the bylaws for NEAC twice a year. This is different. And the reason why it's different is because this is intended to be for the entire Near East Side as a connectivity between all the districts. And so the intention is for us to be more engaged, more connected, and for us to find opportunities. Not everybody can do a meeting, especially if it's a really boring one, but they could do a neighborhood movie night together, right, with their kids, or they could do a jazz event with some roller skating involved. These are things that we can do together. So the opportunity with this and the ask is for you to connect with your district commissioners and your at-large commissioners if you think that this is helpful and something that you would like to see, and let them know that you would like to see this for the commission. It's a proposal that's going to need to be voted on by the commission at the next meeting, and please ask them to vote yes. I also have a feedback survey. If you would like the link to that, I can provide that for you to give feedback. This is an evolving process. There's nothing 100% set in stone. It's an idea that's come together from a lot of conversations. And so if you have suggestions, I'm definitely amenable to that. Thank you for letting me present.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kate. And so as she said, this is a discussion, it is a proposal. We have put the information on the website as well as on our Facebook page and the Near East Neighborhood Forum page. So you can find it at all those places. You can contact her directly. You can put a note in the chat. And then if you have a question about it, but this is another way to strengthen the community associations. And the other thing that we talked about, for instance, is perhaps working to strengthen the neighborhood associations or the civic associations that aren't doing so well for whatever reason. It's organizational, structural, whatever, but just really helping to strengthen the community across the board. Okay, let's move on to Roy Lowenstein for an update for NEAC generally. And I believe I saw him somewhere in the queue. Okay, turn it over to you for your 3 minutes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I did appreciate your support to allow me to get reelected to the NEAC board, and it's an interesting time at NEAC, and I think Kate would agree. We have some new members, and I think that it's too early to tell exactly what impact that will have, but we definitely have some folks who have joined who really want to see the organization, I would say, strengthened and move in some new directions. One of the directions I suspect is greater responsiveness to the community organizations that are in the Near East Side. And I think that Franklin Park Civic Association can have some more voice in that. So I, over the past year, although there were 2 months there that I was not able to really serve on NEAC because the election, as you know, was in December and all the election results were put on hold. In general, I haven't really come to Franklin Park Civic Association, although it's the district I live in and serve, because there haven't been a lot of issues that have come up at NEAC that have directly focused on Franklin Park. Mostly, it seems, we deal with zoning cases, and we deal occasionally with public improvements that we can make recommendations on how that money would be spent. And so other than that, that seems to occupy the great percentage of the work. There haven't been controversial zonings in Franklin Park. There have been a couple that have come up. Mostly it's people wanting to put an apartment above their garage, or there was a somewhat controversial one on Bryden Road at the last meeting where someone wanted to build a large garage to house a motorhome, and the NEAC ended up voting that down as a recommendation to the city for a couple of reasons. But mostly there have not been controversial items. So one of the things I would really like to do is interact with the Franklin Park Civic Association to get a better sense of what the organization's goals are for the district, so that I would be better guided when a case comes up that requires a vote. So we do need to be in communication. I do need to get your sense of policy directions. And the other thing is, as you know, we're supposed to hold district-wide meetings. And it's interesting that Kate's proposal for a NEAC area-wide engagement process, sort of that comes up at the same time that we're being reminded we need to hold district meetings as well. And I have some interest in what way those two concepts interact. And Kate, if you wish to comment on that, that's fine. If not, that's fine too. But we do need to organize a district-wide meeting. And I guess we're supposed to do those on a regular basis. And so I'm of the belief that Franklin Park Civic Association is the logical body to sort of host that meeting. But maybe maybe that's wrong, and maybe I need to host the meeting. So I need to understand how that can be organized and carried out better than I do right now, because I hadn't focused on it at all until just a week or two ago.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Roy. I think that it's it's clear that right now we are going through a review of a lot of processes and structures. And for those of you who weren't aware, recently, all of the area associations throughout the city were provided with electronic platforms, and those platforms were made available. And I think that various people in reviewing the platforms, not just of NEAC, but of other commissions, realize that there are different ways of being responsive to community needs, and began to think about, could we be more proactive and perhaps less reactive in how we engage our community. So, and in that spirit, I agree with you. Yes, the bylaws have mandated, and there's no doubt about it, there is to be a spring district meeting hosted by you, and we would share that information and encourage our members to attend, but it would not be a Franklin Park hosted meeting. But we would certainly encourage people to give voice to, again, being proactive. If and I call it thinking outside the box. If you could sit back and think about, what would you want? How would you want your community to look? What would you think about? The other thing I encourage people to do is when you're exploring an issue like this, what are the 4 whys? So when you see something and you say, well, We have we've got lights we've got street lights. Why do we have street lights? We have street lights because it's dark. Well, why is it dark? Well, it's dark because, you know, their houses, and there's the illumination from the house. Well, why is illumination? Whatever the question is, don't stop with the first answer. So as we look at our needs around the community, I encourage us to go beyond the first response to why and go dig deeper so we see what is it that we can actually do, okay? I'm starting to preach. I want to stop there. I said 3 minutes and I can't abuse it as a chair and take more. So again, thank you very much, Roy. If people have questions or comments, please, he is your representative. You can do a question to him in the chat. You can email him. Maybe he'll provide his phone number in the chat. Yeah, Brian has put up the commissioners. So please be proactive and do contact Roy with your questions. And when he announces the time and date for the meeting, for the district meeting, please attend, okay? So we'll go back into our agenda and we have the treasurer's report. Nick?
Yes, actually very brief. So we had some movement with some memberships. I think there were about maybe 20 or so that came in, and a small donation. So our current balance is $7,421.01.
All right,
Right.
thank you.
I have a check to deliver to you, Nick, by the way.
Ah, perfect. I'll take that
Okay,
whenever you
great.
get it, or whenever you drop it off.
Okay, thank you. And now, Will's report, which he was so eager to give earlier. Okay, Will, could we have your report on development and improvements, please?
Certainly. I want to give a brief update on the trolley barn and clear my screen here. We met with Jeff Bauer, and by we, I mean members of the development committee, including our president, Julie Lynn Walker, and Meg Cottingham and Tamika Johnson met with Jeff Bauer, who is kind of the construction manager for what they call the trolley barn update. And several things we believe came out of this that will be useful going forward. One, they acknowledged what was reported to us, that there are some environmental issues with dust and construction materials, et cetera, and they're working as best they can to keep those in control. But they said whenever someone feels that there's an issue, they should feel free to contact them. So that's number one. Two is that Mr. Bauer committed to check in with us monthly on how the project's going. And they have hired a operations manager who will be working primarily with the new businesses there. But I believe as that person comes on site, they will be working with us on other more local issues. For example, the recruitment of potential area residents for job opportunities that their vendors may have. Okay, so the vendors that come on site will not be working for the developer, but they'll be working for the individual places. And we made it clear that we would like to be of whatever assistance we can to help them get some of the outstanding residents of our Franklin Park area to be considered for those opportunities. Thirdly, they committed to a first view activity at somewhat like Dr. Bertley did in late May or early June, where probably just the members of our association, because we'll still be under COVID, congregation guidelines, but they'll give us a walkthrough before the facility is open to the public, and we're very much looking forward to that. And next, we emphasize that both the construction manager, their leasing company, and their operations manager keep in front of their vendors and employees the importance of having folk who understand and share the values that we hold so important here in the Franklin Park neighborhood. So that meeting is summarized in a report that's in a development folder on our website, which will be talked about later today. And at our next meeting, Mr. Bauer said that they should have more meeting about additional tenants and an update on their schedule. And that's all I have on that topic.
And did you mention the name?
So I did not. the name, as you see here, is Trolley District. So we have all come to know that facility as Trolley Barn, and they call it Trolley District, which is kind of a campus. There are several buildings there, and we call it the Trolley District at Franklin Park. And that is how we would like to refer to it. We would like to promote it, and we want to work with them to use that moniker when they refer to what the Trolley District is and where it is, that it's called the Trolley District at Franklin Park. Thank you for that reminder.
Okay. Thank you. Again, if there are any questions or comments, put them in the chat and we'll try and pick them up as we go along.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Well, you gonna do the, you're muted, Mel. Oh, well, you're muted. You're muted.
Thank you so much. Jay, I see, is on the line, and I'm going to ask Jay to get an update on the traffic study that we've been working through for the past couple of meetings. Thank you, Jay.
You guys hear me all right?
Yes.
All right. So we are wrapping up data collection here, hopefully very soon. Will has been gracious enough to hook me up with a lot of extra material from a couple of years ago. Also been put in contact with the Livingston Area Commission. I actually just reached out to Kate like maybe an hour or two ago to kind of touch base with her on this standing committee and on getting some involvement with NEAC. So really where this thing sits right now is trying to wrap up the overarching data collection, final identifiers of the most troubled areas, and then coordinate with the area commissions and the neighborhood associations, just so everybody's kind of in the loop and there's a collective agreement on the areas that are the most impacted. From there, we will be formulating a solutions matrix. The hardest hit areas, the highest risk areas, would be sort of our test group to try to get some of these solutions implemented. And if that were successful, then the solutions could be applied on a case-by-case basis throughout the neighborhood at any point in time. To reiterate, we are looking at more inexpensive, easily implementable solutions. So most likely not traffic lights, nothing that requires a full traffic study, nothing that requires major construction, in an attempt to get this pushed through the city quicker. Anything that's more substantial has to go through a study period, city approvals, construction funding, etc. So not to say that those aren't bad ideas, but that's kind of not what this study is about. We may turn up some good recommendations for the city to look into if there are some bigger things on the horizon that are needed, but that's not really the overarching point of this. And then ultimately, we'll take our findings, our recommendations, and present them to the city for implementation and for feedback. With like I said, the ultimate goal being a couple of test sites, and then the implementation of the successful projects elsewhere in the neighborhood, wherever they're deemed most needed.
Okay.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you very much. Okay, again, there are questions or comments, put them in the chat and we will come back to it if, or Jay will respond to it directly. Okay? And then, yes.
May I just briefly reiterate that on our website, and I'm sure Brian will highlight this in the highlights of this meeting, there's a folder if you want to look at the previous traffic analysis that's been done in the Franklin Park area and the work that Jay is doing. That will be on our website as well. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So Carol had a question. Jay, yeah, please, you can address that. And we're going to move on to our activities and events. And who is feeding back on that?
I'm so sorry.
Is Tamika?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. So I recently took up the we didn't have anyone over our activities and events committee. So that's something that I am taking on. So I am currently looking for committee members, people who would like to join in helping us plan events for FPCA in our neighborhood. So if you're on the call, or if you know someone in the neighborhood, one of your neighbors that may be interested in joining this committee, please feel free to pass along my information. I'll add my email to the chat so that everyone has it. But again, this is for the activities and events committee.
Okay, and an update of the elders? Tamika?
Sorry, I was adding my information. Yes, so we are currently looking for new interviewees, people for us to interview. So if you know of any neighbors, or if you are someone who's interested in being interviewed for our Elder Spotlight, someone who's been in the neighborhood 20 to 30 years in the neighborhood, please send me your contact information and I'll reach out to you. And if you know of anyone, I know we had a few people who recommended some folk in the neighborhood. However, they didn't have any contact information for those people. That just makes it really hard, just because with COVID, a lot of people aren't out and about these days. So if you have a recommendation, please provide contact information, telephone number, address, or some way for us to reach these neighbors so that we can ask them to be one of our spotlights. We'll be holding off on actually releasing the spotlights that we already have until we're ready to revamp our social media. So currently, I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but FPCA is currently going through a rebranding, a remarketing, revamping our website, our social media platforms. We're redoing a lot of our social media and our website. So so right now we are waiting to release the elder spotlights until we get those revamped, and then we'll be posting that. Again, if you know anyone who's interested, I'll add my information, my contact information to the chat.
Yes, and you don't have to wait for the website to be a member of this committee. So please, and there's so many things happening. And you see, Dr. Bertley, you know, we don't have to be bound by COVID. We've got to figure out ways around it. Things are evolving every day. We used to do the Easter egg hunt. That's coming up. I know last year we talked about alternative. It didn't happen. Should we do something this year? Then with the school changes, are there things we should be doing with the schools? I know in the last month or two, somebody mentioned Sunday walks in the park. I think it was with dogs or without dogs. I can't remember, but there was some Sunday walk in the park as a community activity. So you know, the door is wide open. I know that some area associations have food trucks that come to their communities at a periodic basis. So please join Tamika. She's got a newborn. Everybody can consider congratulations, but she is devoting time to ensuring that the Activities and Events Committee moves forward enthusiastically. Okay. All right. So moving on, then, well, let's hear from Nick with our membership and public media. Nick, and is Jay going to be part of this report?
I don't know if Jay is, but I don't really have anything to update. I mentioned most of the treasury report was memberships because we invoiced a bunch of people that were tardy. So if you haven't paid your membership, you still can do that. There's a link at the top of our website. Outside of that, I guess it kind of pivots off of what Tamika was saying about the website, which I think is probably coming up later because we'll have a request for that. But outside of that, I don't really have an update. Unless there's any questions.
Okay. Actually, it's Mick. Is Mick on? I wanted to take Mick down. I said Jay, but it's Mick. Is Mick on?
I don't think he is.
Okay. All right. All right. So we will we'll get it later then. Okay. Thank you very much. Then health, wellness, and safety. Kim. Kim.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm here. Right now, I am building my committee. Dr. Yolanda Zellers has generously offered to help, and I am looking for more. So let me know. But what I am currently doing is compiling lists of Zoom and physical opportunities for either meditation and physical activities within the Near East area, as well as lists of farmers markets that will be coming to the neighborhood and close to it so that we can all schedule for that. Also, I have reached out to the Ohio Association of Area Agencies on Aging to see what kind of grant opportunities are available to the people in this neighborhood for different classes and opportunities. I also thought that this would be a good time to reach out to the conservatory and see if we can influence their having farmers markets this year since they were canceled last year, and also promote their community growing initiatives, which is tools and plots that are available within the park grounds itself, which is an awesome thing, and we should take advantage of it. Let's see. And to your point with the activities, this is where we intermingle. I have actually in my notes that I wanted to talk about or I wanted to see who had the thread for the walks in the park that we had talked about before. I believe it might have been Miriam. So, and also, and actually in my notes too, I had traffic concerns about the trolley barn as well. So any way we can be proactive about what's happening with that. So that's what I've got so far, and I'm looking for more ways to serve. So if anybody has any ideas, I'll put my email in the chat.
Okay, just briefly, one point, the Franklin Park Conservatory will host a farmer's market again this year. It will be different, but it will be hosted. So, you know, so we do have that. All right, as part of this now, let's hear from Richard and Joyce Harris on the community gardens.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, Joyce is on another Zoom meeting because this is Revival Week, and so she is getting her praise on.
Okay.
So I will attempt to hold down the fort, even though my wife knows twice as much as me. Um, I can talk extensively about my garden. I see we have two other gardeners on online too
Okay,
to speak about
Richard,
their garden.
Richard, I'm gonna stop you. I really need you to give a high level overview,
Okay, understand.
please. Okay, thank you,
In the
because I
Franklin
know.
Park community, there are 9 community gardens. Franklin Park and Bill Doss is one. The next one is Growing Hearts and Hands, and I have 2 gardens. One is called the Legacy Garden. The other one's called the Growing Hearts and Hands Garden. Then uh, Elisa has a garden on Franklin, and that's her garden if you want to visit it. The other garden is Central Community House, which is in the midst of putting in raised bed gardens for its programming. The other garden is on Linwood, which this last speaker runs that community garden. And there's the Stoddard Avenue garden on Stoddard Avenue near Maine. I think I missed one. Yes, there's a garden on Madison and Lotta, I believe, which is owned by Love Zion Church. And altogether in the Franklin Park community, there are 9 existing community gardens. There are 2 that are owned by city land. My garden is owned by the city, and Stoddard Avenue is also a city lease. Um, we are getting ready to gear up for many of the gardens for Earth Day celebration, which will be in the middle of the month. But the agenda actually covers the whole month of April and even into parts of May. Um, we are all in need. Um, our needs are great. We have begun to reach out on Zoom and have many conversations with new neighbors, and I'm looking forward to an excellent growing season. My gardens have to change because of many things, new housing near us, etc. I think I covered most of the bases.
Thank you. Yes, there was another one just put into the chat, and then Kimball Farms on Main Street next to
Oh, yeah.
Stoddard. So we
Yes,
really
that's
may
the other
end
one,
up
Kimball, yes.
we may end up with a dozen. But the main point is that these neighborhood gardens really serve a unique function in terms of providing space for individuals both to garden for vegetables, or as a place Kim mentioned earlier for meditation, just a place of beauty, of
Yes.
greenery, to be able to relax and enjoy the community. But in order for them to survive, they do need help. And so we received a very comprehensive document from them. We're going to put something up on the website so that there will be a section on the Facebook page, devoted to the gardens. But in the meantime, again, don't wait for that. Contact Richard. When you see somebody working in the garden near you, just offer to help out for a few minutes, a couple of hours. And we really are trying to get all the gardens to do Earth Day so that we really will be able to get them off the ground in a good way this spring. Okay? So again, if you have any other questions, comments, please direct them to Richard. Don't call him. He won't answer the phone, but he will answer text message because he's tired of all these robocalls, okay?
Thank you, thank you.
But he is very helpful once he knows your number and, knows who you are and what you want. Okay? Thanks very much, Richard and Kim. Appreciate that. Everybody, please, community gardens. Okay, back to Will for the Elections Committee. And may I share with the group as a whole that the other 2 members of his committee are sitting to my left and my right. All right. So I got Ann Walker on one side and Sandra Jeter on the other. So his committee is here in force. Okay, go right ahead, Will.
Thank you. Hopefully, all of you have been to our website and seen our call for nominations, which is also on our Facebook page. And we have a little slideshow that talks about the officers to be elected, the requirements for nominees, and the nominating process. And as has been stated in several presentations, we're all trying to accommodate the constraints of operating under COVID. So one of the things that the bylaws makes clear, and we're trying to work out how we're going to have is a candidates night where we can create an opportunity for those who have shown an interest in one of the 4 slots to speak to the membership. And once we get that detail down, as well as their availability, we'll be making that known. We also have a nomination form that's on our website. So we're asking people to give us as much information about yourself as a potential nominee. And we're looking to close that out by the end of this month. And I want to reiterate the importance of the end of this month. Not only is it the end of the time for us accepting nominations for these offices, but also in terms of our upcoming election, only those people who, as I understand it, who have completed their membership by the end of March will be able to vote in that upcoming election. So we want to encourage people and hopefully give them some extra incentive to complete that process. We know people have, through Nick's efforts, been working with the registration system we have online, and we hope that you will tell a neighbor, tell a friend, and encourage them to join as well. Did I leave anything out, Madam Chair? Or could you hear me?
That was good. I heard. I'm here. I heard. Thank you
I've been
very
on those
much.
phone calls where you talk for 15 minutes and say, did you hear me?
I know that's right. No. We're good. All right. All right. Then let me, I want to move on to the, any questions or comments for Will? I didn't see anything that came up specifically, but again, you can contact him in the chat or directly and we'll move on. Okay. Can you stop your screen share, please?
Yes, I will. And as I do that, I just want to reemphasize for those who want to do a deep dive into our election requirements and procedures, they are contained in the bylaws, which are also in the library of the Franklin Park Civic Association website.
Okay. All right. So if there are no further questions, comments on that, I didn't see anything in the chat that was outstanding. I want to move on to new business. And the first thing was, the first item under new business was the executive committee. And the officers of the association wanted to share with you that this month, we have begun to meet the week before the monthly meeting as a way to review responsibilities, to see what is outstanding, and to be able to prepare adequately for the meeting. So the minutes for those meetings will be posted on the website. If you have questions, comments, please feel free to contact any one of us at any point, during the month when you see the information. But it is new. There is a provision for it within the bylaws, but we wanted to ensure that we didn't let anything slip through the cracks. And it seemed to be that we were moving in a few new directions, and we wanted to be able to do so in a way that was built on solid ground and that enabled us to be fully responsive to your needs and concerns. So that is that. Now, this seems like a tag team operation, but now I'm going to turn it back to Will for NEAC.
Well,
UIRF.
Again, participation is a team sport, and I want to thank Julia Lynn for bringing this particular matter to our attention. I want to thank NEAC Commissioner Kate D'Souza for involving me in some of the NEAC meetings about this. And what I want to address in particular is the city of Columbus.
Yeah.
Urban infrastructure.
It didn't, okay, here we go.
Okay. And so the URF program, very briefly, is one that's been around for 5 or 6 years, and they are actually at a point where they're not renewing the program, but they're trying to complete some unfinished business. It's a capital improvements program, and with regard to the nearest area, they have in the past done projects like the new benches and picnic tables and trash cans that you see in Franklin Park, as well as the bike sharrows, which is a new word for me, where it shows where the cars and the bikes are supposed to share the lanes like you see on Kelton Avenue near Franklin Park South, but also the signs on Bryden Road and Franklin Park South that say bikes can go this way to either downtown or out to the bike trail. The city has indicated that they have about 480,000, I believe, that will be available for projects in the nearest area. And they have a variety of other criteria, and those criteria are detailed in a folder about the program, which again is on their website. However, the timeline they've like to follow is to accept proposals at the next NEAC meeting, which is April 20th. And they are asking us to listen to what the city says at that meeting about how they would like to proceed, which they haven't fully disclosed at this point. But if folks have project ideas, to please bring them forward. So some sample project types that are able to be recommended are listed on this next slide. Bike facilities, street lighting, park improvements, planted medians, much like you see on Broad Street in Bexley, new sidewalks in areas that there are not sidewalks, not private sidewalks. And then there are other capital projects, some of which if you ask, you might be able to get an answer, yes, we can do that as a capital project. But the overarching criteria that the city has is that those projects have to maximize the visual impact and enhancement of neighborhoods, okay? And so I think that kind of opens the door for some of the things that we have talked about doing in the Franklin Park area. So I have been giving some thought, talking to people, and I suggested, based on what we heard, that we start with 4 possible projects. One that's been talked about not only in our neighborhood, but in other parts of the nearest area, is some kind of dog park. It's easier said than done because it has to be on land that can be used for that purpose for a long period of time. So we've been looking at the possibilities there, but that's something that we would want to maybe suggest to the city that we'd like to see happen in our neighborhood. And if that, for example, is approved, we would work with the appropriate city department to come up with a plan and then ultimately funding. Another type of project would be, as many people have referenced, mural art at the east entrances to Franklin Park on the Norfolk and Western Railroad. Those railroads are owned in combination with the city, so that is something we're searching out now in terms of who has a say in terms of how that property can be used. And you know, if there's a go signal there, that's something that could be proposed as well. Neighborhood entrance signs. I'm sure if you are walking, you have seen the little 4x5 signs that say historic Franklin Park neighborhood that are way up on telephone poles as you come into our neighborhood. But I think our neighborhood deserves a more robust signage that can be easily seen by an automobile and marks the major entrances to our area. And this historic district signage really just talks about extending the historic signage that's at a few intersections to more in our neighborhood. And I imagine they already have those signs made. So these are some examples of what those projects might look like. A dog park, which, believe it or not, has dog furniture and dog accommodations and such. In the middle here is an example of the sign that Old Oaks neighborhood did in combination with Nationwide Insurance, and they have those both on private property and in public right of way. And on the far right is an example of a mural. In this case happens to be in Philadelphia, which is kind of the home of murals projects, but it's done under underpass. So it just gives you a kind of flavor of what thing could be done as a community effort involving the collaboration of artists and community residents. So I will ask you what Julia Lynn asked me, and let's get creative and to send your project ideas to our mailbox, and then we'll get out to our committee and participants, and we will try and put that together in some beginning recommendations for the NEAC meeting on the 20th. And again, on the website, there'll be folders that have more information from the city, as well as more details about these projects that were listed in this slide presentation. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Please, this is not almost $500,000 for Franklin Park. Okay, so just get that out of your heads. This is $480,000 for all of the Near East Side. So other people are having the same kinds of discussions as we're having, you know, thinking of things that will go in their communities. So I really encourage you, be creative, let us know what you're thinking. It's gonna take us a few minutes to cost something out, look at what some of the contradictions are, because when we go on April 20th, we want to at least put forward a draft proposal that is clear and enticing, and at the end of the day, will get accepted and enhance FPCA. Okay? So please talk to each other, look around, see what other people are doing, not just in Columbus, but you know, you use Philadelphia, wherever. And then look at what we can do possibly here. Maybe, you know, there are all kinds of ideas, but at the end of the day, we really, really need time to be able to put together a draft proposal that at least gets us past the first the barrier, the entry level barrier questions. Okay. All right. So then in terms of the our meeting files, is that Will or Nick?
I'm gonna toss it to Nick and Brian.
Nick and Brian, there we go. I knew Nick was up in there someplace. Okay, meeting files, please.
Is this about where we're storing them now, or
yes.
What was the? Julie Lynn or Will?
Yes.
What was the?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So it's kind of coincides with our website update. So we're going through all of our, I guess, library repository that's online. We are continuing to use Google Drive for that, but it looks like we just need to better organize and really point people directly to where they need to go to find certain things like minutes or committee reports, development, traffic, et cetera. So, you know, we can do that update early, but it's really just going to coincide with the website really to point people in the right direction. Or we can just use direct links when we send out emails to really kind of point people where they need to go. So we'll have that update probably before the website in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Brian, was there anything to add?
So, as last week at the executive meeting, it was discussed like the how we distribute the agendas and minutes. Before we set that as attachments, do you want me to continue doing that and just like direct people to the website? I mean, to the library.
Yeah. All right. And this is a discussion. And again, we really encourage feedback from you. And when Anissa said earlier, well, you said it was online, but I couldn't find it. And I shared with you that, yes, I also had trouble finding it. And I know that, you know, there's a whole psychology in terms of learning styles and whatnot, and everybody are different. There are 4 major groups, but be that as it may, we really want to know what works best for you, because we know that everybody's time is valuable and we don't want people to be frustrated. And we want you to be able to, if you have a question, go online and get the answer. If you want our the documents emailed on a regular basis as part of a packet, fine. If you want a link put into the body of the email that you can click fine. If you just want to be told it's stored in the library online, fine. But we really need to, hear from you what works best for you. Because as we go through this process now of really ensuring that the infrastructure of the organization is revised in a way that is most responsive to you, we need to hear from you. All right? So please contact Brian, contact Nick, let them know what your experiences are with the website. If there are other websites that work better for you with other community organizations or in general, let us know. But hopefully by the April, the elections, we will have a new website up and have a lot of this revised. Okay? So particularly the IT experts out there, let us know what's happening. Okay. Any announcements, general discussion?
I have an announcement.
Okay. Lynn, good evening. What is your announcement?
That tomorrow, on Thursday, the climate action plan from the city of Columbus is still going on, and people from the city, Alana Shockey, the assistant director, is going to be one of the speakers, and Green Spot. And I'm very interested in looking at Green Spot for the Near East Side, but in general, they're taking comments till March 31st. There's this one on Thursday, and then there's one on the 28th that Impact is doing. So there's 2 more opportunities, community meetings, to hear about the climate action plan by the city. So I'm just going to post the link.
Okay, and is that the urban forestry one as well, or is it different?
Well, no, I really asked the sustainability to talk about all of their initiatives, but this is specifically about the climate action plan. I said, you're asking people to give comments on a lot of different things. They said, yeah, I know, but this one is specifically about the climate action plan draft 1.
Okay, fine. Well, then in addition, there is an urban forest proposal before city council. We can check the website and see if we can get the information on that. But I want to say it's going to meet tomorrow, but do check. They want comments on how to encourage the growth of trees in the urban area. Okay, so if we get some additional information, again, we'll post it, as we can. Thank you, Lynn. Other announcements?
May I announce something?
Yes,
Dr. Walker?
Kate.
The Columbus Urban League is hosting the first of the 2 Pfizer doses this Saturday, the 27th. I am doing the sign up. Call me. Are you ready? 614-736-9095. That is my work cell. I'm the one doing the scheduling. I have a team to do it. Please leave a message. I have about another 100 slots for this event this coming Saturday. So I want to get you scheduled if you want to come. There is going to be a pre-registration that will follow the phone call with me in selecting a time. Mostly everything I have available is from 12:45 until 3:45 every 15 minutes on Saturday through Ohio Health. Call me and I'll get you scheduled. If you're not interested in the Pfizer, but you think you want to be on a wait list for a J&J, the Johnson & Johnson, Equitas had an event this past Sunday. It went extraordinarily well. They're hoping to do another one with us as well as being the host. So I will put your name down, and then that way, if I have another clinic come up, then I will call you first. So again, 614-736-9095. You can also call the Urban League main number, 614-257-6300. I'll put both the numbers, but all those numbers that are coming through during the day are getting routed to my cell phone. So just call me directly. You got the in, I'll get you in, okay?
Hey, Kay, is that 40 and up in those priority populations as well?
It is 40 and up 1E, unless you have one of the caveats. I feel like everybody has a little bit of obesity COVID fluff going on. So if we can get you on through one of the other reasons, otherwise I am having a no waste list. So if you're in a 43203, 43205, you're my priority, but I'm also taking people from other zip codes. I will put you on the list. If we have a cancellation, then we have the ability to call you and get you in. So please call me. Let's get you on a list. I know it's been very stressful and frustrating. If you need to help sign up parents or somebody else that you may have POA for, let's get them on the list and I can help you navigate that. So again, please call me. I'll put my number in the chat.
Yes, I really want to take a moment here and speak to this because I've been receiving at least 2 to 3 times a week, I get a notice about some vaccine clinic. And at this point, you know, people have options. And if you want the vaccine, you should be able to have it one way or another. So there really, it should not be an issue at this point. And under the health and wellness, we have been sharing that information as we've gotten it, because as Kate said, some of them are specifically for 43203 and 43205. Others are specific to age or medical condition. I know that I have a particular concern around the non-institutionalized elderly. And I'm talking about our senior citizens who are living at home and who do not have someone with the technological literacy to be able to spend hours online and get them an appointment. So if you just check with your, and really, and I shared with Kate an example over the weekend over a couple, he's in his 90s, she's in her 80s, who I would have thought had been taken care of, and they weren't. And so I think we really have a responsibility to step outside our comfort zone and ask our neighbors, ask our friends, ask our relatives, do you have the shot? Do you want it? And then help them to get it. Because the folks in the nursing homes, the folks who are connected to social services, they're getting it. But the folks who are in their own homes or living with relatives who, aren't keeping track of them, that's the group that I'm really worried about. But even if you're not in that group, even if you're 50, 40, there are options. So please, if you're interested, please be alert, check our website, check our Facebook page, because I really try and post them as soon as I get them. Whitehall is running a clinic, various churches are doing pop-up clinics, it's out here, okay? So again, I'm gonna stop preaching. Anyone else have an announcement or anything for open discussion?
I just had a really,
Okay, Miriam?
I had a really quick comment going back to the website, and you said the things that we would know. If you guys happen to put any type of video where there's spoken language to it, I'm a sign language interpreter. I'm happy to interpret any of that information, because I did see that there is a man who lives in an apartment complex. I think he might be just adjacent to Franklin Park, but there, that was just a deaf man I happened to see out having conversation on the street. So just to let you know, to make that video accessible. And also we may want to consider Spanish, and if there, I don't know what our demographics are in Franklin Park Civic Association, but maybe I want to know that, because everything has been so far produced in English and also in print only. So wanted just to put that out there, something to consider.
Thank you. Any other concerns in for the good of the community?
All right. So Link Us Columbus is still doing their ongoing study of the Broad Street and Main Street corridors. I put that information in the chat. Speaking of vaccines, Columbus Stand Up, they are giving people rides to get vaccinations. And that is very critical. And happy birthday to us, because it was on this week in 1974 that we were chartered as the Franklin Park Area Improvement Association.
Look at that. Well, thank you. You see?
And, yeah. And next Tuesday is recycling and yard waste. Yard waste goes out in the front, recycling in the back. But there are some homes, that, especially on my street, that don't have backyards. So those would go on the front. And then if it's not picked up within 48 hours, contact 311, let them know, hey, get my yard waste.
Brian, if I may, I've had most success by writing. You can set up a 311 account, because those emails are tracked and they are on a timeline to get them responded to. But the other side of that coin is, for whatever reason, and I'm sure there's a good one, they have been coming later in the day. So just about when I'm ready to push the button to say, you didn't get my waste, it's 4 o'clock. Here they're later than the postman now. So
Not necessarily. Postmen have been out as late as like 6, 7 o'clock at night.
oh, well, you're lucky then.
Okay. Any other announcements? Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for taking 90 minutes out of your day to spend time with us. I really encourage you to participate in a committee and to join the community gardens for Earth Day. So happy birthday, everyone, from the Franklin Park Civic Association. Take care, and I'll see you on the streets, or I'll see you next month.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Adjourn.
Fantastic meeting. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, you're always welcome to come back and visit.
When you have something to say, we a substance.
Oh, I won't come I'll
you can
only come and watch.
You can hang out with us, right?
Yes.
It was a great meeting. Thank you. And also the compost exchange is still taking people interested in doing recycling of their food scraps. Please help pass the word. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Take care, Lynn. Bye-bye.
Night.
Hey, Carol.
Hey.
Oh, Carol.
Carol, it was so good to see Bill. I haven't seen him in ages.
Yeah, well, somebody rang the doorbell, so he went to answer the door. But we were both sitting here watching everything. Yeah.
It's been 20-some years. Oh, and there's another Bill.
See my arrow up here?
Yeah. Well, that's good. Please give my best regards.
I will. I'll tell him.
All right.
And the same thing to everybody in your whole house.
Thank you.
Hey, yeah, and you see my mama?
Oh my goodness.
Hold on. Wait a minute.
The whole time. Oh, yeah.
Hold on. Now you see Sandra? Hi, neighbors.
All right. I thought I saw somebody pulling the strings back there, Julian.
I know, that's right. Okay.
You're like a cat that we don't know about.
All right, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, Nate, you don't have to go home.
But you can't see here. But
Right,
even Carol Beckerly joined us from the school board.
She lives down the street.
Yes, she does. Right there, like
in the next block.
Right over by the trolley district.
Very good. Thank you. All right, Brian. Talk to you soon.